Gayem Alim, one more question for you about multilateralism in the world. The participants of the conference discussed in different panels the attacks on multilateralism from certain countries, from certain administrations. And in this period when there's so much pressure, so much attacks against multilateralism, Azerbaijan is actually investing in multilateral institutions. We have worked as Trollman said, very hard to establish new organizations in the region like Guam, like Turkic Organization of Turkic States. We have chaired non-aligned movement. In the next several months, we will be chairing SICA organization, and then next year we will be chairing Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Plus here we are working with UN agencies. So what do you think about generally Azerbaijan's participation in multilateral institutions? In which direction can we expect some more strengthening focus? What do you think about this?
Well, indeed, there is some shift in the international relations from multilateralism by certain actors. But in my view, those are only temporary developments. Some actors, unsatisfied with their current arrangements, try to exit basically existing arrangements. That's understandable, but it does not mean you can completely neglect multilateralism per se. But in terms of Azerbaijan, we usually reinvigorate even less intact mechanisms. For example, when Azerbaijan became chair of the non-alignment movement, it was until then just a forum for disengaging neutrality. But during Azerbaijan's chairmanship, it has become one of the key global formats for on various issues of international agenda, from peace and security until development and cooperation. For that reason, I'm rather optimistic. And as you know, at the recent EU Central Asia Summit was held. Actually, it should be seen positively in terms of substance, but with some nuance regarding the Cyprus issue. We all recall that President Ilham Aliyev quite firmly supported our brothers in northern Cyprus. What we should say in that regard is a reference to the specific two resolution of the UN Security Council. There is a wrong perception among certain circles that I actually surveyed the Central Asian media. The resolutions of the UN Security Council are binding, so there is nothing wrong to refer to them, but that's not correct, because not all resolutions of the UN Security Council are binding. What UN Charter says, decisions of the UN Security Council are binding. But I think I also appreciate the rather reserved stance of Turkey. What happened has already happened in terms of diplomatic setback, but we need to look further. At the next summit, we need to, of course, welcome Northern Cyprus at the next summit of the Organization of Turkic States, and actually make some reference to more important documents like 1956 London Guarantor Treaty. It is a legally binding treaty still in force that's somehow being overlooked, or as Mr. President said, to the fact that Turkish Cypriots approved, actually endorsed Annan Plan back in 2004. But whatever, in future, I believe it would be in interest of all Turkic states to try to establish partnership relationship between Organization of Turkic States on one hand and European Union on the other hand, when it comes to the Middle Corridor issue, when it comes to their energy security, energy supply, and so on. I believe sooner or later it's going to happen.
Thank you, Gayem Alim. You have described this issue in detail, and President indeed voiced very strong support for Northern Cyprus, and I think this was a very symbolic gesture at such a difficult time. President also talked a lot about bilateral relationship with other neighbors, for example, with Georgia, with Iran, and one specific point he made was about opportunities which the new Trump administration has brought to bilateral Azerbaijan-US relationship, because previous administration was very biased, was supporting Armenia. I mean, USAID and State Department were always making statements in favor of Armenia and supporting Armenia economically. So President has talked a lot about new opportunities with Trump administration and the focus of US-Azerbaijan relations in the future. So I would like to ask a Member of Parliament, Sevil Khanum, what do you think about the future of Azerbaijan-US relationships? What kind of changes we can expect? What are the opportunities for the peace process? Because Biden administration was extremely biased and inefficient. So what do you think about this, Sevil Khan?
Before coming to Azerbaijan, I want to say that after Trump's victory and he's taking his office, actually tremendous changes have been observed throughout the world. And the international politics, I think, was shocked by the innovations which Trump wants and will bring to the international relations. And specifically, if to come to Azerbaijan-US relations, yes, you're right. And Mr. President has stated that during the Biden's administrations, our relations actually deteriorated. And that was frustrating for both sides, I think, for Azerbaijan and for the United States, because over the 30 years, we tried to build trusty relations with the United States, and the relations with Washington actually were really fruitful. But Biden's wrong decisions and Biden's biased position, which was directly and clearly directed to supporting Armenia and to be on the side of not only supporting, but to be on the side of Armenia, even not thinking he's right, he's wrong, actually led to what we saw at the end of his tenure. And we are happy to say that now Trump is in power. And his last letter to Mr. President, I think, was very promising. He put very clear notes on the major directions in future relations with Azerbaijan. And we do believe that the political alignments will go on, and Trump is interested in durable peace in South Caucasus, and he will continue his support to peace building between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And third, and very important point, is that he called Azerbaijan a successful country, and this is very important. It means that we are successful in South Caucasus, so we are successful in our foreign policy, in domestic policy, in our economic views, and that can lead the overall region to a successful future as well. And third, but not the least point, it was the relations with Israel, and Mr. Trump thanked. And why? Because this is the appraisal of Azerbaijan's tolerant position and the tolerance which we pursue with regard to all other countries, irrespective with their religions and national complexity. And I think, and this is the also appraisal of growing role of Azerbaijan in the Far East and the Near East as well. And it is important that Trump sees Azerbaijan's position and Azerbaijan's role in this region as well. And what Azerbaijan can bring to international relations, this is also multilateralism, what the UN lacks now. But there are also too many organizations throughout the world, and I think the Turkish world is one of them, and the Organization of Turkic States will become one of that organizations which UN will have to cooperate. And so we see Azerbaijan's growing role in the international arena. I think the Eurasia will have to count with Azerbaijan in terms of its politics. Of course, it is constructive, and it is constructive in economic sphere as well. And we will continue to play our essential role in bringing transport routes, in bringing export and import operations, trade relations, and so on.
Thank you, Sevil Khan. You have touched upon very important issues. First, about trilateral cooperation between US, Azerbaijan, and Israel, which many experts nowadays are discussing and pointing out, and there's a lot of opportunities for that. You have also talked about developments in Syria, which are actually quite promising for the region. And you have talked about the growing role of Organization of Turkic States in international arena, and that was one of the messages which President said. He said that Organization of Turkic States should be more active in international platforms, in different voting processes, in different resolutions. So he called OTS to be very active in these processes. Tolman, maybe we conclude our discussion with European continent, because President Aliyev also touched upon Council of Europe, Parliamentary Assembly of Council of Europe, European Parliament, some of the difficult relationships that Azerbaijan currently has with them due to their biased attitude. He also mentioned about Minsk group of OSCE. He mentioned about some of the European politicians which are always on Armenian payroll. So what do you think about the current developments? What do you think about the prospects? And in terms of Azerbaijan's contribution to European security, energy security, what do you think we can expect in the future?
Yes, very good question. I think that in our foreign policy, the European direction, the relations with the European institutions have always been high on the agenda. But unfortunately, it was because of the biased attitude of some European politicians, populist parties, especially those who are extremely right-wing or left-wing. They started to criticize Azerbaijan without any basis, without any ground. And this hypocrisy reached its high point when we liberated our territories from the Armenian occupation. And after this, all masks thrown out of, and they openly exposed themselves, not accepting the reality. On the paper, they always supported the territorial integrity, sovereignty of Azerbaijan. But when we did it, when we achieved and liberated our territories, we have seen that they are not ready to accept it. And after 2020, we have seen so many hypocrisy coming out from the European institutions, especially the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly. We together with Sevil Khanım, we participated in the sessions of the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly, and we have seen so many double, triple standards. And yes, unfortunately, it was mainly because not accepting the reality and not accepting the liberation of our lands from the Armenian occupation. But I think that not all EU members are the same. For example, as I have mentioned, we have strategic partnership agreements with 10 EU members. It means that the Eastern European countries especially are willing to continue their collaboration with Azerbaijan. At the same time, the European Parliament and the European Union institutions, if they continue criticize Azerbaijan without any grounds, Azerbaijan also has its kind of leverage to push and to pressure those European countries who are unjustly delivering their position against us. I think that the power, the strength of Azerbaijan already manifested itself with those countries with which we have very good relations. And I think that taking into account the European Union, at the end of the day, they will understand their mistake, and those politicians who always stood against Azerbaijan, they will change their position because of the reality, because of the emerging power of Azerbaijan as a powerhouse in the bigger Eurasian region.
Thank you so much, dear colleagues. Generally, I would like to say that the conference was very successful because participants could also visit Karabakh and see reconstruction efforts in Karabakh. There are massive reconstruction efforts going on everywhere, and even we took tunnels to reach Shusha, which is very, very impressive developments. And one of the questions which participants were asking me is why Armenians have destroyed this land. If they always say that this is their land, why they ruined it, why they looted it. So it is obvious to the international community that this land has true owners. The true owners are back, and they are restoring this, and they're developing this region. And for the regional picture, for the global picture, Azerbaijan has showed itself as a reliable partner, as a partner which can focus on development issues, cooperation issues, and more we are becoming a very pivotal link between Asia and Europe in that sense. And I think in the future, Azerbaijan's role in global politics will continue to improve and to strengthen. Thank you so much for this discussion, and we hope that such kind of discussions will take place in the future as well. Thank you.